So this video, guys, is made for another subscriber's comments, because they left 3 comments, and this subscriber's name is Steve. And first of all, Steve, I'd just like to thank you again for supporting me on my Buy Me a Coffee page. I'd also like to give a shout out to Lindaza, Luke, Lachlan, Bree, and Paul. Guys, thank you so much for supporting me. Also, you guys that constantly comment and like, thank you so much. You guys make this channel seriously. Without all your comments, feedback, positive feedback, negative feedback, we wouldn't have this little community that's forming. I'm still a small channel, but I like it. There's regular commenters. It's all beautiful stuff, guys. Thank you so much. I'm loving it. And Steve, this one's for you. You've asked me 3 questions. I'm going to spend most of the time on the second question you asked. And what were Steve's questions? You'll see them here. I've got them on my old trusty iPhone 8. First question. How about doing a vlog series called A Day in the Life of Someone Who Doesn't Have Free Will? I think it might be very, very interesting, especially as your day will appear like everyone else's. I considered this, Steve, but look, my life is quite boring. There's nothing, I don't feel like people have come to my channel to watch my life, but I know what you're getting at. And what I'll probably do in the future is make videos about free will and how they apply in practical everyday scenarios. How someone like me, who doesn't believe in free will, reacts to arguments, difficult people, all those things that we all are affected by. How not believing in free will helps you get through it. So that's one thing I will consider. The second question he asked, which I'll spend most of the time on this video, is I personally don't subscribe to the idea that if everyone was spiritual or understood the non-dual nature of reality, that no one would be evil. It seems you and Rupert Spira do. I think we are animals just like wolves, and animals have an innate animal nature. That means we still might harm others even if it's all one. We do it less, I agree, but we'd still do it. Could you respond to this perhaps? So here's my reasoning, and apparently Rupert Spira too, I didn't know that. So thanks for sharing. Why a non-dual reality, if everyone saw this, there would be no immoral action. We wouldn't be harming each other. Before I get into that, also, in Hinduism, they talk about how time is cyclical, that time cycles through 4 yugas, 4 ages. The first age is the Satya Yuga. In the Satya Yuga, apparently everyone's spiritual. Everyone must see non-duality. Basically, it's the golden age. Everyone's spiritual. No one's doing harm to each other. Basically, what I'm going to talk about soon. The next stage in the cycle of these yugas is the Treta Yuga. That's where everything's still good, but people are slightly less spiritual. The next yuga is the Dwapara Yuga, where again, spirituality and morality is in decline, but things are generally still okay. The final yuga, and thankfully the shortest, Satya is the longest. This final one, the Kali Yuga, is the shortest, is when spirituality is at its lowest. People are heavily identified with this body and mind, materialistic, what we're experiencing right now. And even Sri Ramakrishna said, in the Kali Yuga, people are so heavily identified with ego, body and mind, the best spiritual practice, the best course of action is devotion. Devotion to a higher power. I'm a person devoting to a God. He only recommends this because the majority of people identify with this body, and it's the easiest path, devotion. All this kind of non-dual speak is very hard in this yuga for the majority of people. In something like the Satya Yuga, it's easy. Everyone can see it. It's obvious. So I just thought I'd mention that because I find that interesting. Now, here's why I believe if everyone saw a non-dual reality, which I don't see happening, it's the Kali Yuga, it's the Kali Yuga, by the way. But even if it did happen, here's why no one would be committing evil deeds, crossing the lines of morality. Because here's the thing, if you truly see a non-dual reality and feel it, you know what that really means? You feel one, you feel complete. You have seen through the illusion of ego. You've transcended ego. You don't have to kill the ego. You just need to see it's a function of this body-mind complex. And what would that translate into? Here's the way I like to view it. Just say you've had a big meal. You're so full, you've eaten so much food. And then a friend goes, hey, Simon, I know this all-you-can-eat restaurant that we can sneak into. We don't have to pay, let's sneak in. You're going to say to this friend, look, even if I wanted to do the wrong thing, sneak in, get some free food, I'm so full, man, I can't. There's no way. The only reason I'm mentioning this is because that's how someone, an enlightened being, someone that's realized non-dual reality and feels it, is going to feel and act like. It's like a wave, thinking it was just a wave, looking at other waves, going, that wave's bigger, smaller. Oh, whirlpools, what the hell is that? It feels separate, but once it realizes the fabric of all waves and whirlpools is water, you're one with all reality. In other words, once you see and feel a non-dual reality, you're complete. There's nothing that can be added to you to make you feel complete. You're already complete. There's nothing that can be taken away from you. See what I'm saying? You're in a state of peace, completeness. Why would you cross the lines of morality? It wouldn't make sense. There's no point. Because here's the thing with our ego, guys. Our ego, we're born with ego. Born in original sin, as they say in Christianity. For me, it's like, just say you were born with a clenched fist. That's all you've ever known, a clenched fist. Then someone said to you, why don't you start relaxing the fist? And you're like, what are you talking about? What's the issue here? They go, no, open your hand up a bit. And then you're like, okay. You start opening up the hand. It's going to feel uncomfortable because you're used to a clenched fist. It's going to feel uncomfortable, opening. This is what spiritual practice is doing to our ego. This is why I'm mentioning this example. Eventually what's going to happen, you're going to get to a point where your hand is open and relaxed. It's going to feel like such a sense of relief. You're going to be like, oh, this is what true happiness feels like. What our ego does before this, in this example, is it's kind of clenched. When it has a desire, it clenches a little bit tighter. When the desire is released, it relaxes a little bit. It's just doing this. Clenching tighter, relaxing a little bit. Clenching tighter, relaxing a little bit. This is all our mind is doing with our desires. But what spiritual practice does is slowly open this hand to a relaxed state. Once the hand is in the relaxed state, once you've found inner peace, once you've realized a non-dual reality, any kind of desiring is going to irritate your mind. It's going to be like you're in the relaxed state. And now you're being asked, clench your fist again. Don't you want happiness? Clench your fist and then release it again. Then you'll be happy. You'll be like, dude, I'm already in a relaxed state. This is what you discover with these teachings. Your mind's default state is peace. Every desire is irritating the mind, making it contracted. Then you get to the point where you realize, why keep contracting this mind with desire? I'm already feeling free, open, one. I'm only mentioning this because if everyone saw a non-dual reality and felt this, what's the point of harming others? For what? You only harm others when you're operating from ego. Why is that? The ego is the sense of separation. I'm separate. And if I get what they have, I'll be happy. And sometimes people think, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get that because that'll bring me happiness. See? To see a non-dual reality simultaneously means the loss of identity with ego. Seeing through the illusion of ego. See how it works together? You can't say, I don't have ego, I see a non-dual reality, and then do things that we class as immoral. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. Because if you truly felt one, what do you need to add to yourself? You feel one. What? See what I'm saying? Also, I should mention, Sri Ramakrishna, I love how he puts all this together. He says, only those that have realized God or their true self can realize God is the doer of all actions. That free will is an illusion. Why is that? Because when you're identified with ego, the ego makes you think and feel you're separate. The ego then breeds desire. Because you feel separate, you feel, I need to gain things from others and life for happiness. So the ego breeds desire. Ego breeds the sense of free will. And then you think, I'm freely getting this, doing that. I'm freely doing the wrong thing, but it's all right because I'm going to get happiness. Free will and desire come from the root of ego. Once you see through the illusion of ego, you see through the illusion of identity and free will. Again, if you feel one with all reality, how are you controlling anything? There's no you controlling anything. It's like when a wave realizes it's the ocean. It's like when a character in a movie realizes, oh, my essence is the screen. The screen is not coming and going. The screen is not moving in time and space. All time and space appears on the screen. All action appears on the screen. The screen is doing nothing. Your true self is doing nothing. It cannot act. Like it said in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 27, all action is carried out by material nature, but the soul, identified with ego, thinks of itself as the doer. When you're identified with ego, you feel like you're getting things done. You feel like you've got free will. When you're identified with your true self, or you've realized God, you realize it's obvious. I do nothing. My core does nothing. Also, they talk about in Taoism being in the state of Wu Wei, the flow of nature. Nothing else in nature is thinking, but everything's getting done. So what I'm saying, guys, is if you truly saw a non-dual reality and felt it, and you're around everyone else that saw and felt the same, you wouldn't need laws, morals. Why? What's it for? Laws and morals are for people that feel like they are separate, that they are their ego, and think this will give them happiness. So, Steve, I hope that answers your question. I'm assuming Rupert Spira would give a similar answer. I don't know, but that's my reasoning. The third and final question Steve asked is, my experience of non-duality, Francis Lucille, Mani, Tony Parsons, Jeff Foster, Byron, Katie, Robert Saltzman, is that, funnily enough, it's very fractious, divided space where my non-duality is better than your non-duality. There's an awful lot of spiritual ego buzzing around. Care to discuss this too? Here's what I'll say about that. I initially got into these traditional teachings of Advaita Vedanta through Neo-Advaita. So I'm grateful that it gave me the gateway into the traditional teachings, but these teachings are so limited. And I don't want to be a part of this criticizing them ultimately. So here's what I'm going to say. There's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 11. Krishna, speaking as God, says, however my devotees approach me, I approach them in the same way. Everyone is following my path knowingly or unknowingly. And by that I mean, here's what you need to do. Whatever you believe of this reality, whatever is bringing you happiness, that's the path for you. If you have the atheist mindset, what God? What's Krishna saying? God, in its loving wisdom, is giving you that reality. Don't believe in God? You'll see a reality devoid of God. Believe in a God, like a Jesus, you'll see a Christian reality. You'll see a Muslim reality, a Jewish reality, a non-dual reality. God is so loving, God gives you what you want. So what I'm basically saying is, follow your happiness. Follow what feels right to you. If Neo-Advaita teachings are making you feel happy, why would you need to change? It's bringing you happiness. If being an atheist is making you feel happy, what's the need to change? So what I'm saying is, here's another thing Sri Ramakrishna said. All paths lead to God. It would be like if spirituality was a mountain and we're all trying to get to the top. The top is one, isn't it? We've all got the same goal, but what we're all doing in Neo-Advaita, Advaita, Christianity, Islam, we're all at the bottom of the mountain arguing which point of the mountain at the bottom is best to start, our ascent to the top. Don't get bogged up in all these little details. Pick any philosophy or way of life and sincerely follow it. If it's atheism, Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, Judaism, pick something and stick with it. And if for some reason it feels like you're lacking something, of course, be free to move to the next thing. Follow your happiness. Follow your intuition. Don't worry about why everyone's fractured and divided. Don't worry about that. Worry about you, your inner peace. It's like what they say in aeroplanes. Put your mask on first before assisting others. If you're in an aeroplane, everyone's arguing about who should put on their mask first and why they shouldn't have put their mask on first. Don't worry. Save yourself first. Get your own inner peace and happiness. Once you're stable and set, then you can assist others, if you so choose. And if you don't want to help others, don't make their life worse. What I found is true spirituality is leading by example. not by preaching. Now look, you can say I'm preaching, but here's the thing, I found a cool middle ground, because I used to be very preachy about this stuff until I realized it didn't work. YouTube is a cool middle ground. I'm just some dude talking about what I love in front of a camera. If you guys like it, you do. If you don't, you click off, don't you? But when I'm away from this camera, how do I truly live these spiritual teachings? By example, seeing the divinity in everyone and everything, operating from the root of love, showing love, understanding, compassion to everyone. Why is that? Because it goes such a long way. I remember years ago, I've always identified as a good person, but some days I've had really shit days, upset, negative, snapping at people, and I've had people I've done that to, and haven't reacted. They've shown me understanding, and I've gotten home and thought, thank God they're understanding, because I'm just having a bad day. I don't mean to take it out on these people, but thank God there's people that are understanding. Because if you react to negative people, just say they're having a bad day and you're defensive and angry with them. Some people, that's their tipping point. They're so sad, upset with life. You're treating them like a jerk because they were a jerk, of course, first. That can be someone's tipping point. They're like, this world has no love, no understanding, screw it. Why even be here? See what I'm saying? Once you've found inner peace and happiness and love in your heart, give it unconditionally. People that are in suffering are hurting, aren't they? So why not show them love, understanding, and compassion? Because once you see your true self, you realize it's the true self of all. These people that are in suffering, that are miserable, their true self and your true self is one and the same, but their ego is masking their true self. They have bad conditioning, bad thought patterns, or they're having a bad day. So once you see the love in your heart, spread it out, give it out. Why do you need to be so angry and upset with them, see? True spirituality is finding inner peace first and being an instrument to express that love. So instead of wasting all this time debating who's right, which teaching's right, wrong, spend all that time becoming peaceful, a loving human being. Because if you really saw a non-dual reality, it's the one self, your true self, appearing like this. So love yourself first, the small self, and then start loving the bigger self. So Steve, I hope this answered your question. If you're new to my channel, I go off in these little tangents. I don't stick to the main point and I just go off. So I'm sorry, man. But in any case, thanks again for your support. Thanks again for asking these beautiful questions. And all of you beautiful people, thank you so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing, all that beautiful stuff. I'll see you all in the next video, but until then, take care of yourselves, okay? See ya.